So for those of you who don't know, Keo is kind of the guy that he's just like that. He's the top 10 guy for COD Mobile. He does. You guys have seen me react to his videos before. Top 10 best COD Mobile snipers, top 10 best rank players, best phone players, blah blah blah. Apparently, his top 10 best phone players video from a week ago actually popped off, so I kind of wanted to react to that. If you are watching this video on Bobby Reacts, just a note, we actually did make a Bobby Reacts subreddit. So if you guys would like to submit something that you want me to react to, you can do that over there. But anyway, today we are... Oh, I'll link that down in the description. I forgot to say that. We're going to react to Keo's top 10 phone players. I'm interested to see who's on this. I have a feeling it's going to be controversial because I believe he actually had Ziya. Okay. I mean, Ziya's definitely a good phone player. I'm surprised he made it on here because Ziya really hasn't he hasn't done a ton of phone gameplay up until like right when phones were announced to be the required thing for COD Mobile Championships, and then they went back on it. Ziya is definitely a really good phone player. I'm not sure I would put him in the top 10. I don't know. A lot of it's going to come down to who he has on here. I have a tough time putting anybody on Tribe outside of the top 10. But Ziya, I haven't really watched a ton of his gameplay recently. He's definitely a really good phone player. I turned the volume off because it's probably copyrighted music, and I'm not trying to get copy claimed for reacting to this video, but he's tearing it up with the DRH. Trelle, I'm gonna keep it real. Ziya is better than him. So I'm probably gonna disagree with this one. He is more famous than Ziya, so I think he's the most famous Spanish YouTuber. But I've played against him before, or I've actually played with him recently. And I just now realized my face cam is covering his face cam. Sorry for doing that, sir. I played with him recently. And I don't think he's quite as good as he used to be. And it might be because he switched from phone to tablet. But I would definitely say Ziya is probably better than he is. That being said, most of Ziya's recent gameplay... Oh, wow. Knifeios. That's definitely a controversial one. Not saying that Knifes is a bad player, but he's more of like a specialist, you know? Like, he's definitely a phenomenal knifer, but I just have a difficult time putting someone in the top 10 who doesn't use guns when that's like how the COD Mobile is designed around guns, you know? Like, it's a game where you're meant to use guns. He's without a doubt a phenomenal knifer, and I think he has used snipers before. But I don't know, especially when there's a lot of like really, really good pro players on phone. I have a tough time putting Knifeios. And don't get me wrong, he makes great content, but okay, Heaven's definitely a player I would say deserves to be on here. He's one of the best Garena players. Really, really solid player. I think he typically makes it onto the top snipers videos as well. So I would definitely have Heaven in the top 10. And also it is difficult to judge like top 10 as far as like Garena players go, because they never go up against people on North America server, but Heaven's definitely a really, really good player, so I would at least have him in the top 10. And I'm guessing this is more of like a top 10 phone content creators type video than it is like actual top 10. Like, I'm guessing he's probably not taking into account a lot of pro players, because if he was, then a lot of these guys would probably not be in here. I would definitely have Heaven top 5. Scurvio. Scurvio is definitely a really good player. Really solid phone player. I'm trying to think who he plays for. The comp scene just changes so much that it's tough to keep track of like who plays for who. Scurvio, definitely a really solid player. I would probably have him in the top 10. Most of the players listed before now, outside of like Heaven, I would probably have Ziya in the top 10 as well. But I would say Scurvio's probably a top 10 phone player. I think there's a lot of people, like pro players, that play on phone that people just don't realize they're phone players. I would expect afloz to be on here. He's one of the best phone players. I would expect Marshy to probably be on here. The thing is, in like the finals that I hosted for my own Omen Challenger series, and this is this is a controversial one. So Clashy, formerly known as Proven, formerly known as Accuracy, formerly known as Acer Core, formerly known as Adapt, is actually a Triggers player. So that's why this one is extremely controversial, and I've actually said before, just because I saw him listed at #1 of one of Keo's videos, that he was the best phone player. At the time, I didn't know that he played with Triggers, so he's probably one of the more controversial players in the pro scene, especially just for a number of reasons. He's definitely a really good player, but you do have to keep in mind he does play with Triggers, so that's something to be aware of. But you can even see all the different usernames. You can see all the different usernames that he goes through in the kill feeds, because at the beginning it said Clashy, now it says Adapt. You'll probably see Proven in here as well. Might see Acer Core. I think Acer Core was a name that he went by for just one. Forsaken. So Forsaken's definitely a really good player. I didn't know he played on phone, actually. Definitely very solid. I can definitely see this one. Like I said, there's probably going to be a lot of really good players that get left off of this just because Keo didn't know that they play on phone. Bolu's really good on phone. Tectonic's really good on phone. Childs is really... Oh, I was super confused. I was like, wait, why is my face on there? Okay, that that makes a little more sense. It's me reacting to him in the Omen Challenger series, so that makes a little bit more sense. afloz. Okay, so he does have afloz on here. afloz, a really, really good phone sniper, probably one of the best phone snipers. Marshy, another one, or another. Basically, everybody that plays for Tribe is really, really good on phone as well as tablet. So whenever I hosted my own Omen Challenger series finals between Seminole and Tribe, everybody on Tribe was playing using a phone with the exception of Little B. So that's part of the reason I say it's difficult for me to put anybody on Tribe with the exception of Lil B outside of like a top 10 phone player. I haven't really seen what Little B can do on phone, and I know that's where he started, so he's probably really good. I'm glad that afloz is on here because he definitely deserves his spot. Hax is definitely another player that deserves to be on here. He's an underage player for Fnatic. He's actually a thumbs player, and I'd say one of the best thumbs player. There's Marshy in my chat right now. Marshy, I'm trying to... Oh, there we go. Hax. Marshy, I'm not sure that any of your team's going to be on this list, which is actually kind of funny to me. Marshy's one of the only pro players that has always played on phone. I don't know if people know that. I didn't even know it for the longest time. Or actually, I think he played on like an old iPad Air for a while, but I know he's been playing on iPhone 8 recently. But yeah, Hax, and we have so many arguments in the COD Mobile, and by we I mean the pro players have so many arguments in the COD Mobile Discord. Slothy, okay, yeah, Slothy definitely deserves to be up here. Like I said, there's a lot of players that deserve to be on here that I would say got left out probably because Keo just didn't know that they were phone players. All right, Marshy, since you play for Tribe, who would you say deserves to be on this list that was left out? Just in case you're just arriving. Pro players that were on here: afloz, Hex, Slothy. You were not on. Nobody on Tribe was on here, but that's also because Tribe players, for the most part, have played on tablets. Slothy is definitely, I would say, probably the best player that was on this list. Oh yeah, Clout was left off. That's definitely somebody that was. He's really good. He hasn't been in the competitive scene much lately. I'm not really sure who he's been playing for. He might also be underage, so that might be part of the reason. Yeah, that is true. I mean, Tribe did only switch recently, but at the same time, they switched and beat Seminole. So that's something that you've got to keep in mind. Like, normally I wouldn't automatically put Tribe on there, but the fact that they had 4 of their 5 players playing on phone and they beat Seminole, that's definitely something that you got to keep in mind. Miney's good on phone. Yeah, that's definitely somebody else. The one thing I would say is he probably skewed this list a little bit more toward content creators, which makes sense. Like, people want to see their favorite content creators on these lists and everything else. But yeah, Hex is a thumb player. He's definitely pretty freaking cracked. A lot of really good players on here. Some controversial ones as well. But yeah, I like the list for the most part. I would say I probably agreed with like the top. Let me go back and see. I probably agreed with his top 7 or so, because he had Heaven, and then he had, after that, he had Scurvio, and then Adapt is the one, like, controversial one on there because he plays, Asta plays Thumbs too. That's good to know. Yeah, Jokes is definitely somebody that probably could have been on here. No offense to Torelli, but I would say Jokes is probably better than him, so I would have probably had Jokes to take his spot. But at the same time, a lot of this is opinion. I probably would have had Jokes to take Knife's iOS spot as well, just because I try to look at these like as objectively as possible. So typically, the people that you want to put on best players list are like the people that play on a pro level. Knives iOS is definitely the best Knives only player. But if you were to like put him in a 1v1 versus any of these other players, or, you know, like, you understand what I'm saying. I'm just trying to view this as objectively as possible. Absolutely nothing against Knives iOS. I'm just trying to bring like the unbiased approach to this. So that's going to be it for the reaction channel video. If you guys haven't already, make sure to follow over on Trovo, because that's where these happen every single day. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.